Hey, what's up everybody, it's Infinite here, and in this video, for the third time, let's learn how to replace this guy. So let's see what we're going to create today. Okay, that's pretty dope, right? And I think we should change our channel's name from, Infinite VFX to Sky Replacement VFX.
This is not okay.
Anyways, forget. So first of all, see that before starting off, see that you download the project files. The link is in the description, and once you download, you will see that you'll get all of these files. And also note that for the ship that will be floating in the sky, I'll be using Element 3D plugin to add that. If you don't have the Element 3D plugin, then you can still follow the first part that is replacing this guy. So let's get started. Let's open up After Effects and see. Let's import a file. So select all of these. Do not select the folder with the ship sequence. So let's select all of these files and drag and drop onto a project manager and let it import. And we'll put everything in a new folder and we'll rename this to assets. I always make mistakes while typing. We'll take the source footage and we'll drag and drop on this little icon to create a new composition out of it. And let's see what we have. We'll see we have. It's just a handheld footage. I just shot it from my balcony. This is where I live. Anyway, why am I telling you that? Okay, let's start off by 3D camera tracking our scene. So select your footage and come up to the tracker panel. If you cannot see the tracker panel, just come up to window and tracker right here. Select your footage and select track camera. It will take some time. You can see the progress right here in the effects control panel. So until then until the analyzing is done, go and drink water till then, because drinking water is very important. Be hydrated. Okay, so analyzing the footage is almost done, and once it's done analyzing, you'll see that it solved the camera. So let it solve, and you'll see a bunch of points on the screen, and you'll also see this little thing written down, no depth from a tripod pencil. This is not a good track. If you come up to the advanced, you'll see the average error is 3.03. Actually, the average error should always be below 1 or somewhere around 1, and currently it's 3. So what we can do is we can just come up to the solve method and we can select mostly flat scene. It will solve the camera again, and we should have a more accurate track. But I just came to know, even I didn't know, I was just playing around with the typical and the tripod pencil, but I came to know that mostly flat scene has a more accurate, and you'll see a bunch of points, and this is more accurate. Now what we'll do is we'll duplicate our footage. So hit Ctrl D to duplicate your footage, and let's rename this to foreground. And what we'll do here is we'll delete the 3D camera tracker effect from this layer, and we'll basically extract out the white parts of our sky. So we'll come up to the effects and presets, and let's search for color range. So we'll click and drag on to our layer, and let's solo our layer. Just select this dot. And now you'll see that we are already extracting our sky. What we'll do is we'll select the eyedropper tool and just select the part of the sky. And okay, this has done a pretty good job, but still there are parts that needs to be removed. So select the plus and click until it's gone, and you'll see that also this part of the building is also being extracted. Don't worry about that. We'll fix that later. Until now, you just worry about the sky. I will select the plus again and we'll drop it until it's completely gone. Okay, now it's completely gone. You can also enable the transparency grid to see the transparency of the video. So now how can we fix this part? We don't want the part of the buildings to be removed. So what we'll do is let's import our sky layer. That will be this image, not the one, but the 3. Click and drag and drop in between the foreground and the source, and just hit Ctrl Alt F to fit to comp. Okay, and you'll see that this doesn't look good at all. We could leave it right here, but we are not going to. Okay, now currently you'll see that the sky is not tracked to our scene. Now how can we track our sky to the scene? Okay, so let's unsolo everything and let's solo the source. So solo and come up to the effects control and select the 3D camera tracker, and now just select the points which are like in the background, the furthest in the background. So we'll select a bunch of points here and we'll right click and create solid and camera. Now you'll see that we have a solid and currently it's not aligned to our scene. So what we'll do, hit S and scale it up, and we'll rotate it so that it matches the perspective of this part of the building. So you can rotate it from here, or you can hit R on the layer and rotate it. So I'm just going to do, and you can also do is you can add in a grid effect, and now this will help you in aligning the grid. And just play back once and see what do we have. Let's see. Okay, I think this should do. By the way, if you need to just maximize any of the window in After Effects, you just need to hit the tilt key, which is right beside your 1 key. So yeah, just a shortcut for you to know. Okay, so once we are done, let's rename our layer. Let's rename this to Sky Tracking Data, something like that. Not shy, see again. Sky Tracking Data. Okay, and what we'll do now is we'll select now this is very important, so just take note of this. We can hide the layer, the tracking data for now. We'll toggle this switch, just hit F4 to toggle this switch, or just press this and you'll see this 3D cube icon. So select the image, turn it into a 3D layer and see that everything is enabled. Unsolo the layer. And now what we'll do is we'll hold the shift key, select this pick whip tool and parent it to the sky tracking data. And now you should see that the sky has taken the place of our grid and it is tracked to our scene. Now it's just a matter of scaling everything up, just moving it here, then rotate it until it matches the perspective of the sky, the original sky. So rotate it and scale it up. And just play back, because there will be some areas wherein it will be like not scaled properly to a scene. So just move it and scale it. And then now just check everything. Let's start it from here. Okay, this looks good. Now what we'll do is we'll pre-comp our sky layer. Let's rename this to Sky. And now right click, pre-compose, and see that you leave all the attributes into the source and press OK. Now why did we pre-comp? Here I'm going to show you. Now you can work separately in this comp, so if you make any changes here, it will reflect here. Let me show you. So let's suppose we add in this footage, storm clouds overlay, click and drag it up here, and you'll just see it's just an overlay which I got from Footage Crate for free. So if you need to check out that website, the link will be in the description. And we'll change the blending mode to screen. So we just have like this lightning kind of thing. And now what we'll do is we'll select this, we'll move it here, hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, place it here, and then rotate it. Just hit R and rotate it, move it up here, and just offset the timing of the. So do that a bunch of times until you are satisfied with the result that you want. Hit W, rotate it, scale it down, move it here, hit Ctrl D again, duplicate it and place it here. Now you'll see that we have like this lightning kind of thing going on. So if you go back to the source, you'll see that, and once you play, you'll see that it's lightning even here, and you don't have to track the lightning scene again. Instead you could do all the changes on the still frame and it will be reflected there. So we'll just duplicate this again, we'll get it here. And if you need to retime the footage, like make it fast or slow, you can just hold the Alt key and you'll see this arrow turns into this double arrow once you get to the end, and now you can retime the footage. So this will be a little fast. Hit Ctrl D, get it here, we'll make this slow. Hit Alt and drag it out, and we'll scale this thing up like this in the middle, and we'll move this here, duplicate it once more and get it here, rotate it, we scale it down. Let's see what we have. Doesn't look that bad, but don't worry, we'll add more details. This is just for the timing. So let's see what we have. Now we are done with the tracking part. Now the problem here is how can we isolate it so that it is, like only affecting the sky and not the building. So we need to do something, right? Okay, I have a simple fix for that. Select the pen tool and hit the tilt key so that you maximize the window, and we'll just draw the mask around the border of all our buildings. Okay, just follow me. So, and also see that your sky layer is selected while you are masking out the footage. So click and drag on the pen tool and just draw a very rough mask around the border. Not so rough, but just follow along with me until we are done. So draw a mask, follow the border, and yeah, more. Okay, and then just join the mask just from the outside. Okay, so we have masked out a subject. Now just hit F and feather it out somewhere around 400 pixels. So now you'll see that we have basically isolated that part, and you can just feather it out even more. So hit F and feather it out. Okay, let's see what we have. So we have fixed that problem which was around the buildings, and this looks pretty good. And about this wire, this thing, we'll fix that later. We'll see what we can do to that wire. You'll see that the color range effect has basically cut down this part of the wire, so we'll try to fix that later. And now what we'll do is we'll match our sky to our scene. So just search for the effect tint, and we'll desaturate our clouds, and we'll just set the amount to somewhere around 75. So let's see what we have. Here's the before and here's the after. We are adding in more details to our scene. Now I want more of like a lightning thunderstorm kind of theme. So what we can do here is, now we have to just make all the changes in the still comp. So that's very easy. So we'll select more footages like this one right here. So we'll click and drag it here. What we'll do, we'll just offset it into your timeline a bit, and we'll change the blending mode to screen, so that we have like this lightning kind of thing going on the sky. You can disable the audio. We don't need to hear the audio of that. And also the another footage, which is the one, drag and drop, and we'll offset it in a timeline, and we'll change the blending mode to screen. And let's see what we have. And you'll see the reflection of the coconut trees which was in the original footage. If you set that back to normal, don't worry about that. You can just reflection. I'll get this down. Okay, and don't forget to save your project, so otherwise when it crashes, then you won't be that happy. So we'll change this to sky everyone's 3. Sorry, I changed to, anyways, forget. Let's see what we have. Just don't forget to disable the audio of the sky layer. It has some audio in it, so alright, not that bad. I can see some sort of thing here. Yeah, right here. To remove that, just come up to the sky layer, hit F, and just decrease the feathering a bit. And if you see any sort of like glitches going on, for example, right here, this is just from the sky layer. So just go up to the sky, you'll see here. You can just offset that part which has that glitch in it. Yeah, I think we are done with this. And the last thing, basically you'll see that the footage is still. So what we can do is we can add a bit of movement kind of thing. So let's create a new adjustment layer. Just come up to layer, new adjustment layer, and search for the effect turbulent displace. Click and drag onto adjustment layer. I have just soloed these two layers so that I can only work on these two, and you'll see it already has some effect on it. And if you change the evolution, you'll see it has like this wavy kind of movement. We just want that. So what we'll do is we'll come up to the evolution, hold Alt and click on the stopwatch. You'll see a text box appear, and just type in this very simple expression, time times 20. You'll see we have this movement, but it's currently too much. So what we can do, we can get the amount down to 10, and it will have some movement. It's very subtle. 10, okay, 10 is too subtle. Let's change this to 20. I think we're done with replacing the sky, and now just unsolo all the layers. Let's get our ship floating in the sky. So for that, right click, new solid, and we'll change this to element, and drag and drop the element 3D effect. So search for element. Why do I make so many mistakes? Element, click and drag and drop on this solid. And now we'll go to the scene setup, click on the scene setup button, and we'll import our shape sequence. Import, just go to the location where you have the sequence and just select the first one, that is the futuristic boat, and select open and select OK. And this has loaded our ship. Now currently it's too small, so what we can do is we can select the normalize size button. If you import the ship and if you don't see any of these textures which is on the boat, what you can do is you can come up to file and relink scene files, and you can just add the path, and from here just select the textures folder, and that way it will basically like relink all the textures. It might take some time, like a minute or so, but it will relink all the textures. Okay, and now you'll see that some textures are missing, like for example the part of the fan, which is, we don't want this to be white. So what we can do is, it will be right here somewhere here. If it's this texture which is FAR, so you can just select the diffuse, you'll see it's red. Just come up here and just relink it manually, for example here, and select OK. You'll see that it has imported our sequence. It's 101 frame long. It's loopable, so it will loop on our main sequence, so don't worry about that. And if you need to see the animation, you can just offset the frame, and you'll see that the boat is moving. Okay, let's set it back to 0. Now what are we going to do with this? And by the way, just one thing before proceeding, if you are curious from where did I get this boat model, so I got this from Sketchfab. I downloaded it for free. There are some really cool models here on Sketchfab, so do check out the website. And basically this was the .blend file, that is a Blender file. So what I did was I just opened the Blender file and I just converted this from a Blender file to a animated .obj sequence, because Element 3D only supports 3D sequence which is .c4d or .obj. So I had to convert this from a blend to .obj. It's very simple, just go into the Blender file, this go to file, export, and don't forget to select the animation button and just import it. You'll see that some parts of the boat will be very reflective. So what you can do is you can select these textures and you can come up to the glossiness and you can decrease, because we don't want our boat to be reflective, the boat to reflect. So we'll decrease the reflectivity. Just come up to all the textures and decrease the glossiness. So we'll come down, decrease, come down to the gold, decrease, come down, and decrease all the glossiness. We don't need to be reflective, it to be reflective. Okay, so just select the OK and we'll see what we have. Our boat is missing. No, our boat is right here, and you'll see that it's just floating like in a random 3D space in a scene, and we want the location to be right here. So what we can do is just select the element layer, go up to group 1, go to create group null and create a null object. Okay, and let's rename this to, we'll just enable this. We can hide the, no need to hide. Now we'll do the same thing. We'll select the shape null, we'll hold down the shift key, we'll select the speak with tool, and we'll parent it to our sky tracking data. You'll see you won't see anything, but if you just move your z-axis ahead, you'll see that we get our ship back, and just pull it out until you see the ship. Now basically that happens because the sky layer and the ship null has the same z position, so you need to just mess up with your z position to get the ship in front. So just get it out here and rotate it and just play around with the green and the red axis. Okay, and see that you move the element 3D layer below the foreground. We'll place it here and just match it, rotate it, scale it a bit. Okay, let's see what we have. You can hide the grid layer for now, the sky tracking data, and let's play. Okay, you'll see that it's tracked to us, and if you still see some like intersection with the sky layer, just move it outside of the sky layer. And do not worry if you mess up for the first time, because when you're working with 3D, there are like 90% of the chances that there will be like 1 or 2 errors, like always. So just do not worry about that. Like even I had made so many mistakes while doing this, so that's totally fine. Okay, now the ship is tracked to us. Now currently it's running too slow. We can check out the render speed of each and every layer. This is the new feature in After Effects, and you'll see that the slowest is the, obviously it will be element 3D layer, but also the FG layer, the foreground. So what you can do is, for this you can just solo this layer right here and hit Ctrl M to get added to the render queue, and you can just render out the sequence with the transparency channel. So what you can do is, you can come up to here and select the QuickTime and see that Apple ProRes 444 is selected. Select RGB plus alpha, this is very important, and select OK, and just render out this sequence. And then later you can just import it instead of the foreground layer, and you can delete this layer because this layer is slowing up everything in our scene. Okay, this is just for you if your system is running slow, but for now we'll just proceed with this. And now what we'll do is, we'll add a basic keyframe animation for our ship to move from here to here. We'll go to the end of the timeline, we'll go to the ship null, and we'll hit the P key, hold down shift and hit the R key, so that you get all of these stopwatches. Add a keyframe to all of these and just move it to your final, just move the ship to the final position. So I'll just, now just note that I am not going something which looks like photorealistic, because that is not what I'm going for. I'm just going for more of a stylized and like a fantasy kind of thing here, so I'm not going for realism here. Just take a note of that. Okay, so this will be the final position of our ship, and now just go to somewhere around 6 seconds and move it here, back, and if it's intersecting then just rotate it and move it out. And now just move these keyframes to the beginning of the timeline, and let's see what we have. So it will move from here. Let's do a quick render and let's see what we have. Alright, you see that we have a very basic animation. Now you can take your time and you can refine everything. I'm just showing you like in the most basic way, because we don't have much time here. So yeah, this will do for now. And let's do to improve the lighting of this ship. So what we'll do is, first of all, let's go to the project tab and drag and drop the 1.png down here and hide it, because we don't want that to be visible. We'll go to the element layer, from the custom layers, texture maps, go to the layer 1 and select that 1.png. Now go to the scene setup, and in the environment, what I'm basically doing, I'm just taking the same image of a layer and telling element to treat that as an environment layer. So it will just copy all of the lighting data and the reflection stuff from that one image. Now it is recommended that you use a 360 image or an HDRI for that, but for now I think this should do. So this is our environment. Select OK, and now select OK. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll just add in more lights so that it matches much better with our scene. So come up to layer, new, where is it, light, and from here select parallel lights at the intensity to 100. See that it's not white. Select the eyedropper tool and pick wave to a sky, and pick the color from a sky, what am I saying, and change the fall off to inverse square clamped and radius to 500 and select OK. Now you'll see that our sky layer turns black. Now that is because there's this very weird option which is on by default on any of the 3D layers. So select the sky, hit A twice, and you'll see that there is an option called as accept lights. So just turn that off, and now you'll see that you can see the before and after. this is without the light and this is with the light. So what we can do here is we can move this light here. I think that looks decent. I would say I wouldn't complain much about that. And now let's color correct our ship. So select the element layer and drag and drop the tint effect. So select the tint and drag and drop onto an element layer, and you'll see that it desaturates our ship, but we can change the amount to tint from 100 to 50. And you'll also see that our ship is way too sharp than our scene is. So we can do is we can add in a fast box blur effect. Where is it? Fast box blur, and we'll blur it out a bit, like 0.2 or so. No, 0.2 is too much. 0.1. Yeah, I think this should do. And what we can also do is we can add some like fog affecting our ship. So we can go to the element layer, we can then we can go into a fog, enable fog, and select the color from our sky. And this is just a very quick demonstration of the plugin. I wasn't supposed to add the ship to the sky, but I thought that why not, if you are just replacing, like why should we only replace the sky? So you can decrease the opacity. I think I'll just get it up to, I don't know, 2L. Just search for the tritone effect, click and drag and drop it here. And what this does is, if you select the highlights of the sky, select the midtones, we'll select the dark part of the sky, and we'll go to the shadows of our scene. See that it basically like matches all of our colors, like the highlights, midtone and shadows to our scene. You can just play around with the blend with original to match it even more. We'll color correct our scene for now to the foreground, and let's search for tint. We'll add in a tint to our scene, and we'll get it down to somewhere around 50 or so. And now we'll create another adjustment layer. So come to layer, new adjustment layer, and we'll add in the curves effect. So search for the curves effect and drag and drop onto adjustment layer. Just increase the highlights and make a S curve so that you have a more contrast to your scene. Something like that. We'll go to the red channel. We do not need any red, so we can decrease the red channel. We'll go to the blue channel. We can increase our blue channel a bit. And what I'll also do is, in the sky I'll completely desaturate it. So amount to tint, I'll keep it 100. Let's make it like a very moody scene with like a thunderstorm kind of mood. And now what I'll do is, let's rename this adjustment layer to curves. I'll add another adjustment layer, hit Ctrl Alt Y to create a new adjustment layer, and I'll rename this to glow. And let's add in our glow effect. So many different glows. Yeah, the default glow. You can use any other glow plugin if you have. We can decrease the threshold to somewhere around like 75, and do not worry, we'll fix everything. Currently it's too bright. We can change the glow colors from A and B colors, which is the white and black. And for the first, let's get the intensity to 0.1. You'll see we won't have anything, but if we hit Ctrl D and this time increase the intensity and increase the radius to somewhere around 250. So let's see before and after. Do not worry, fix the brightness of the ship. And then what we can go to the light, the parallel light, double click. We can decrease the intensity a bit. Let's see, yeah, 49 is much better. Okay, so now we have some glow, we have everything going, and let's add some rain. And for now I'll just disable the glow because it's slowing down the system. So hit Ctrl Alt Y and type in rain, and let's search for the rainfall effect. Rainfall, click and drag onto the adjustment layer. Now we'll do as if the wind is coming in from the left, which is moving into the direction of the ship from left to right. So for that, increase the wind speed to somewhere around like 1000. It depends, like you want a more rain or less rain. So if you want more rain, then increase the drops. If you want less, then decrease it. For now I'll keep it like 4000. And what we'll do is we'll add some variation to the wind, like just a bit, like 5. We'll increase the speed, and now we'll also increase our spread. Do not only stick with this. You can add in more details. For example, I had made this like a year back, and you can see I had added like a character here, kind of flag, everything from Sketchweb. Use the same thing. For example, if you need to add something here, you can come up to the source 3D camera tracker, and you can select a bunch of points here, create a solid, and then what you do, you import the model, you hold shift, you parent it to the solid so that it's position, and just rotate it and match a scene. You get the idea, right? So once you're done with everything, what I like to do is come up to layer, new solid, and call this CC Jaws, drag and drop. I see that it's on top of everything. Search for the CC Jaws effect, click and drag and drop, and then for the completion, change this to somewhere around 80 and decrease the height so that we have the cinematic bar on top. So now this was just like, I just gave you a brief idea on how to work with Element 3D and how you could composite it with the whole scene. Furthermore, I could make more detailed scene which goes through the options of the Element 3D plugin and how you could composite, add fog, add shadow, and do stuff. But for now, I think this looks pretty good. And so as always, hope you guys learned something new from it. And if you did, then press that red button right there which is in the corner so that you get, you are notified every time I upload a new video. I'm Infinite, and so before ending, I was supposed to say something. I forgot. So hope you guys learned something new from me. I'm saying again, I'm Infinite, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.